Philippe, it's the first time we've been able to speak to you since the title race was officially done.
Yeah.
What is your reflection on that and the challenge you were able to put up across the season?
That I'm in first place disappointed because I want to win everything, so you want to become champion. But at the end that we started with 7 points behind. The first day we stepped into the building and we could not in that period close that gap of taking more than 7 points than Celtic. We took 1 point more until now in that period, but not enough. So that was 7. So yeah, you're disappointed about that. You need to leave that behind you and take the good conclusions, how to make things better towards next season. And I'm from already before this game, because we're already a few weeks busy with that. Very focused on those things, on that, on the next game and on the cup final. So on everything there and how to improve things towards the future. So the normal things.
You spoke a little bit about that last week in terms of planning for the future. How content are you with the plan that you've got? How far down the road are you with some of the elements of that in terms of the things you have to put right if you want to be where you want to be this time next year?
I think very important is that I had really good talks with the board about that, what my ideas are in the club, what to change towards recruitment, towards positions, all those things. And let's say that we are about almost everything aligned. That's already a big thing. In a lot of clubs it's sometimes more difficult. So that's the first step. Second step is to do it, of course. You can have amazing plans, but you need to execute them. You need to do them. So we are still in busy with looking at all the departments, what we can make better and do better. And then to make the right conclusions first, and then secondly, to do the right things towards next season to make things better.
Do you think, given the conversations you've had, you can do all the things you think are necessary in time to have them up and running for the new campaign, or are these a longer term?
That's always the thing. You can say things, but you need to do things. You need to see things. So always the promises or plans are not enough. It's about how you execute them, what you do with that. So we're gonna see that the next weeks, the next months. But I'm really convinced about that the will is there in the club. That was for me also the point to come here. That I felt that the people in the club wanted to make steps. They wanted to work hard. They were also honest in many ways about what was going wrong with the club 6 months ago. So that was also important to have this honesty. This honesty is there also now. And I feel that everybody is really engaged to make things better. So that's the other thing. I know there are emotions now, and it's normal. When you don't get your goal, and goal is always to become champion. But it's also important to take the right conclusions. So it's not that in the last 6 months nothing happened here. So there are already steps made, but we're all very ambitious, and me in the first place, to make things a lot better.
Philippe, will you look to do your transfer business quite early in the window?
I think every manager wants everybody in tomorrow. No, maybe not tomorrow. Let's say in 4 weeks, the first day of training. Yeah, we want that. I know all recruitment department are working day and night towards that, but those are things you can have ideas about, but it's never the reality, because it's not only about you. It's about other clubs, making deals with them, making deals with other players. So you can try that. We need it also to be fast ready, because you're gonna go in a pre-season that needs to be hard, because like I said, the foundations of the house of this, physically of the dressing room, are not good enough to play at high intensity 3 games a week. That's one of the reasons of so many injuries. That's clear. That's an easy conclusion. So these players and players coming in, they need a really good preparation. Also new players coming in to get automatized with all the way of playing, to learn the principles. And we have a month of August with 9 games, with 2 qualifying rounds for Champions League and 5 competition games. So that's directly a really, really tough start. I've did it before with Bruges. We had at that moment a core of the group, and you could implement a few extra factors to make things better. I think here we need a bigger rebuild also. So that's even more challenging than it was before, to have then directly also all the results that everybody's expecting.
Philippe, some people may be surprised that the players, or you don't believe the players had the conditioning to play so many games. I mean, how far off the level you're looking for were they, or are they?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how far, and it's difficult because it's individual cases. There are also players who played almost everything, so it's all individual cases. But it's clear if you have every month 9, 10, 11 players out, and it's changing. Some are playing then, and then the other one falls out because the other one who came back, he needs to play then too much because the other one is not available. You are in a vicious circle. And we need to break this circle to make the players more robust, to make them more strong, to make the squad more strong, to get profiles in also who are more strong. And like this, to have a team where you can compete all the time. And if you have so many players out, it's for any team in the world, it's a problem. So this is a vicious circle that's been going on already for a few years. It was not the first season that happened with so many injuries. So it's now time to make the right conclusions and to break that.
Of those 11 who were missing for the midweek game, how many are back and how many have a chance of making the cup final?
Those are 2 questions, and let's first focus on the first question, and the cup final is a week ahead. So I've learned here more than in other places not to look so much ahead. So let's start with today. So Sima will be back in the selection to play some minutes, but very little, but it's his first step again after his injury. And Ryan Jack the same, so he can also be selected for a few minutes. And then Liam Balogun is still a question mark. We will see tomorrow how he is, but he's also close of coming back into the squad. But that's after just a few trainings. So my principles, I had to also throw away some principles in this situation. Before, players had to train at least 1 week with me or 10 days before they were selectable. I cannot follow these rules this last couple of months.
Is that the first time you've done that? Change your principles in terms of training before
I
playing?
didn't have a choice because otherwise we wouldn't have a selection to play the games.
Philippe, what will you change? You're mentioning a change of structure and a change of plans across recruitment, but what will you change going into next season?
And what do you mean with me?
In terms of just day to day and the changes that you would like to implement?
No, there are several things I want to change, but we're in talks about that in the club. I think for the moment I'm doing too much in different, so it needs to be better delegated in the club.
Is that a bigger job or a bigger overhaul than you expected it to be when you first walked through the door?
Yes.
How much has that surprised you over the last few months, just some of the things you've seen?
Some things not, because the club has been honest about a lot of things, but the injury issue has been bigger than I expected. Yeah.
Is that something that can only be solved with new players, or can you solve those problems with the players that are here? Can they get to the levels that you want them to be at?
It will be a combination of the two, I think.
One of the success stories, although he has suffered from injury, has been at Dallasima, 16 goals I think, but we've not seen him a lot obviously in the last few months because of injury. How seriously will you be chatting to Brighton about the potential of getting him as a permanent transfer?
That's about us, him and Brighton. So we were really happy what he showed. We see in him as somebody with potential to grow. He's very happy in this building, but there is a club that is his owner. So you need to find an agreement. So we will see what's going to happen there. You cannot have, you don't know what way that will go. It depends what their demands are and what we can pay. So it's always like that.
You mentioned that during the week about tickets being available for players for a Scottish Cup final place. In many ways, is Tynecastle tomorrow a good place to go because of the boisterous atmosphere, and it almost makes players have to put in a really good performance to try and book in that place?
It would be really poor if they can only perform when it's an atmosphere like that. Then they're not at the right place, I think. No, everybody has a fight to make to be in this cup final, to be at that great moment. No, not everybody now, because not everybody's training and we miss a lot of players. It's still, okay, John Suter not training, Colson not training, Barisic not training, Lundstrom not training, Lawrence not training, Oscar Cortes not training, Matondo not training, and Danilo not training. So that's still a lot. All the others have a chance to fight and to show, to be there for a cup final and to show themselves. And that's interesting now to see also those things who are pushing or who are thinking about other things. So we're going to make a selection around that. But not only that, because that's now the dangerous thing for me to say, for sure, towards fans. Of course, we need to think about the cup final now. So I need to listen even more to my medical and performance staff about players who came out of the last game with some small things, that it's a risk to play with them 60 minutes or 90 minutes. So it's better to play less minutes. So I have to make a selection around that also, and a starting 11 around that, looking at those things. So I can tell you also already. So it's good to have how you say this? We say primeur in French.
Premonition or
no, like the first news about something.
Revelation.
Yeah, that Rit van Yilmaz cannot start the game, because doing that would be a higher risk after his injury and the few minutes that he took now. So we need to build up that story. That's now one example. But we have several of those now for the moment, the last couple of weeks.
Just about Kemar Roof, is Kemar Roof not training, or is he still in the building?
He's still in the building, yes.
Has he got a chance to play again before the end of the season?
It depends of his level, and I need to look at the future also.
Philippe, see when you mentioned changes to staffing away from recruitment, do you see them being significant changes?
There will be changes, but what is significant? So there will be changes. We need changes also. We need to. I think we're as a club at in some ways at the end of a cycle. So we need to change some things.
Thanks, guys. Dailies.
And I want then to end this cycle with a really big moment next week on Saturday. So they end the cycle in a really good way.